Good day and welcome to Charge Talk. Today I'm sitting down with Erin Galiger from ROCSYS. They're building robots that physically plug in and charge electric vehicles for fleets. No human needed. ROCSYS uses robotics and AI-powered computer vision, and they're already working with some of the biggest names in autonomous vehicles. And Erin's leading the charge for them right here in North America. Let's get into it. Erin, thank you so much for joining us today on Charge Talk. I am so excited to speak with you.
It's so good to be here again, talking with you. As soon as we met in Detroit, I was like, yes, we are two of the same. Let's go. This is great.
100%. Yes, the energy was just perfect. So, really happy to sit
hmm
down. Well, let's get right into it. I always like to just jump in. Your origin story, as you put it, from ABB to building robots. You've been in the EV charging world for almost a decade now. You started with ABB, which we all know about. You moved into a nonprofit, Fourth, which is amazing reputation. And now you're at ROCSYS. You were part of the founding dream team here in the States. Please walk us through this, talk about your journey. I want to hear everything.
Sure. So my background was electrical engineering. So I started actually in more of a technical role, and I had the privilege, the luxury, the right timing to end at ABB and be in a at least I was in a project management role at the time. It was during like really early EV charging days, like, you know, Nissan Leaf, BMW i3. Those were like, I think the IMEF was out too. So it was like very not many models, it's all public charging. And so I really cut my teeth with like the public charging CPOs and delivering DC fast chargers. And also just like to take us back to that time, it was like onesies and twosies, like 150 kilowatt charger. And that was like a huge production to get those not just delivered, but installed. And we were all learning about the customer experience. It was actually just a wonderful time to be in the industry. There's a lot of people who are still in the industry from that time. And like we all kind of connect because we're like, we built this together, we are all learning at the same time and making mistakes at the same time. And that was really lovely. The trends were there. The charging was getting faster. There was going to be more chargers per site. So now these sites that were once asking for 50 kilowatts are now asking for multi-megawatts. Something that I really helped on at that time too was the cables were breaking a lot. So that was like kind of created this new visibility to me of like, oh, charging reliability is actually going to start at the cable, because we were replacing a lot of cables at the time, which are very expensive just from being like dropped and broken. So the path then to autonomous charging really was started with one of our customers at ABB, which was Cruise. So we were delivering chargers to this unknown robotaxi company. They were testing indoors only at the time. And that kind of created this new visibility of like, oh, there's a gap in operations. Tying that with here, we've got all these broken cables. Like, how could we make sure that they're never broken again? Because it's really expensive and it causes a lot of downtime on the chargers. And also at the time at ABB, we had pantograph charging. So it's kind of also an early exposure of what does hands-free charging look like? It's a different charging methodology, but they all kind of tied together in those early days. And something I love is seeing the growth of the technology and seeing how it changes over time for our customers. That's a little bit of my background.
The thing that caught me when you were talking was the wattages, how
Yes.
have changed over time. Because like you're the veteran, you're the OG, you're like the grandma of it. Not that you're literally the grandma, but like
I'm
you
pretty grandma. It's okay.
no, but like you've seen it. Like I'm still cutting my teeth to steal your line. Like I've only really been in the EV game for about 4 years. And so I'm coming in so much after. So, like when you started talking about those wattages, I was like, whoa, those are
Yeah.
different from what I'm used to. So just
Yeah.
really crazy to you've been on the ground floor for a really long time. Like you said, you built this. And so it's wild. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, one of the projects I got to work on at ABB was also developing the megawatt charging standard with the partners of, Daimler and Penske, and just that was also my first exposure to like, oh my gosh, we were deploying 150 kilowatts when I left ABB, and I was like, oh, this is insane. How are we even going to get this UL listed? You know, it's just the pace of progress. Sometimes it feels slow in the moment. And then you take a step back and you're like, oh my God, we've done so much.
Right.
And yes, the impact to all of the different, the utilities and getting them engaged. So as these things change, you have the stakeholder landscape is also changing because now like, oh my gosh, we have to get 10 megawatts in a city, everyone charging at the same time. Utilization's high. It's a different problem.
Yes, yes. I liken it to my boss always talks about the cell phone and how we had those big, giant honking cell phones back in the day, and now we've got these, smaller, more advanced. Like, and in the moment, it feels like it's taking so long, but if you look back, like those cell phones changed very quickly, and jumped so fast. So,
Yes. I'm going to plug my favorite museum, which is the Connections Museum in Seattle.
okay.
And it's like the history of telecommunications. And it goes through all the different versions, and they have like working switchboards.
Oh my
And
God.
it's very similar. Like, you can't even believe the pace of innovation. And especially being someone who works in infrastructure, a different kind of infrastructure, we're trying to think about what's the infrastructure going to be like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And the reality is we have no clue. Like the pace of the change is so fast.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. 10 years, we could be in Mars.
Hmm.
I don't even know.
I know. I know.
Uh,
Back to Earth. We're
yes,
here.
back to Earth. Please break it down. A charging robot. For people who have never heard of this, a robot this is ROCSYS. A robot
Yeah.
is charging your car. A vehicle
Hmm.
pulls in, obviously, most likely for a fleet, right?
Hmm.
Or the time. So, how does this work? Can you kind of like talk to me like I'm a sixth grader?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So everything is for fleet. And why that's important is that you have a finite fixed number of vehicles that you know what they are. And so when they pull in, they have to, drive and park in a parking spot, normal parking bay, charging bay. And we have two different solutions. One is a stationary system that is just standing there and holding the charging connector. That's really for our medium heavy duty customers. So that's going to be in like ports and distribution. So as soon as the vehicle pulls up, we have communication with the vehicle and the charge port cover opens. And then we have a camera and it looks for the inlet and we've trained it and it over time it gets better and better because it's using machine learning. So fun stories like we didn't train it to know about spider webs, but then a spider had taken house next to our camera, and so now it's trained to be able to look for the inlet outside of the spider web. So
Wow.
that's kind of a fun one. So that's our stationary system, and that's the system we've been deploying for the last 6 years or so. We just announced our solution for robotaxi, which looks a little bit different but has a lot of similarities. It's on a rail system, so now it's one robot serving up to 10 bays. Vehicle pulls up, we get information from either the fleet or the site operator. Like, does a sixth grader know what APIs are? Maybe not. But we get that information. And then it's basically a little roller coaster where like the robot goes down the rail to the appropriate vehicle. It will pick up the charging connector. It will open the charge port cover and plug it in. And then it'll be able to serve other vehicles that are also down that rail.
I'm sure so much must go into making sure that it locks in, right? Because you've got a machine
Yes.
trying to jiggle and like have was it a lot of iterations and a lot of work to make sure it gets that plug connection?
Yes, absolutely. Like a big part of our early work was trying to figure out like what are all the forces between multiple different brands of connectors and inlets. These cables that we're usually using are DC fast charging cables that are often not liquid cooled, so they're heavy. So we spend a lot of time kind of figuring out like what's the winding of this cable? How do we hold it? How do we make sure that we're always connecting? So we've understand what the forces are. We obviously are responsible for not breaking any inlet, so we can't just brute force it in. That will, take away the life of that inlet and that connector. So that's a lot of where like the technology actually started is about how do we make sure we do this reliably? Because it's not just plugging in, but making sure that charging has flowed and like there's actually communication between the charger.
So many little details. I can just
So
imagine.
many.
And like things that you don't even expect to go wrong, going wrong, right?
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes. We've
oh,
seen a lot.
yeah, I can only imagine. And how, forgive me, how long has Roxas been around?
We were founded in 2019. So we're about 7 years old. We have our birthday next month. And then in the US, we've been here since 2021. So 5 years in the US.
And then you mentioned Robotaxi. Was that like Robotaxi brand or is that a umbrella of like Waymo and all these other guys?
Umbrella.
Okay.
Yes. So we haven't announced who our customer is. We do have a customer in the Robotaxi umbrella that we're supporting. But yeah, we've designed a system that can work with any vehicle, any charging inlet, any charging brand.
So exciting. So you are a founding member of the Roxas US team. Like we talked about earlier, you literally opened the office in Portland. That's
I
so
did.
like talk about clout. Okay, I'm so impressed. Uh, Now, the company has raised 56 million and is planning large-scale deployment in 2027. What has it been like building this from the ground up in North America? And what would you say is the biggest challenge to scaling something new like this?
Personally, I've learned that I love to build, and it's really fun to be in a dynamic industry that is like every day changing. There's no winners or losers who've been decided yet. Like that's really fun to be in. You get to be creative a lot and inventive. I think one of the hardest parts is entering a market with a new solution that doesn't exist. So much into customer education. And our a lot of our team are engineers. A lot of our team are really like product focused. So we, going from, hey, we have this product, go find a market. Who would like this? And being that I've been part of the team for so long, it really started with like who would get value out of this? Like we have a product, what's the market? And spending a lot of time trying to figure out who are the real customers for us, especially in each year because the markets are changing. Who are the customers for us? What are their challenges? And how do we bring value? So it's kind of shifted us from a product company to a solution company. It's gotten us really focused. It has us sometimes saying no to opportunities because we're like, this is outside of our focus. So it's taught me discipline in ways that I wasn't anticipating because, sometimes I guess I was expecting that any opportunity is a good opportunity. And I think that was the learning. It's like, no, we actually have to use a lot of discipline. And if this doesn't fit in with our strategic direction and how we think we should bring value to our customers, then maybe we need to shift. So that was a pretty interesting learning. And I think the hardest part about entering the market and doing all that education.
I like hearing that you had to say no. It's not easy, especially if the opportunity feels like it could be something,
Yeah.
as somebody who, likes to chase after shiny things, I get, that thing of that issue of saying no. Sometimes it's like it's a scary moment, like is this the
Yeah.
right thing to do? You know?
Yeah. And usually I can say like maybe it's just not now.
Right. There
You
you go.
know, we and I think that's the joy of being with an organization through its growth cycles is recognizing that sometimes the role is like, I just need to plant the seed. I don't need to harvest this yet, and maybe just needs to stay in the ground for a little bit longer. I'm not going to get too eager, but it's really that's actually like I think my biggest joy is like watching these things come around. It's like, oh, now either the industry has matured or the bottleneck has moved and now we really add a lot of value. Because I think that's a big challenge with our customers too, is like we can add a lot of value, but they're not ready
Right. The
quite yet.
timing is every.
Timing is, yes.
You don't want to be too early. You don't want to be too late. It's
Hmm.
tough. Okay. I feel like though y'all are in a good spot. I mean, just from an
I
outside,
think so too.
like I'm like, y'all are in that sweet spot right now. Like this is perfect.
We were early for a while, and now I feel like we're right on time.
Yes. The sprouts are sprouting. Obviously, I've got to throw this out there. Women are still very underrepresented in the EV and clean tech space. That's one of the
Hmm.
reasons why I was so excited to interview you because like I said earlier, you're like a diamond in the rough. So you've been in this industry for nearly a decade. I'm sure it's been a very unique experience as a woman in a probably a very male-dominated space. Uh,
Yeah.
what would you say to other women who are looking to get into this space?
Hmm. I think actually my advice is to the women who are already in this space and want more women in this space,
Okay. Okay.
which is if you are a woman in leadership in your organization, you should be participating in recruiting. You
Oh,
should be actively reaching out when you have open roles, even if it's not on your team. That has been, I think, the key to finding women on our team, especially for roles that are a little bit more challenging, is when they get that outreach from someone who's not just an external recruiter who's seeking out, but like, here's a woman in leadership in this organization who can tell you what it's like. That has been so effective at bringing more people into our organization that are women. I'd say that, yeah, it's definitely a male dominated industry. It always has been. I do feel like it is shifting a
yeah.
bit, slowly but surely. It comes with its negative experiences for sure. Last year I was at a conference and we had our one of our engineers on at the conference with us. She was setting up the demonstration that we had, and one of our another stakeholder in the industry came up and said, "Whoa, a female engineer." And it's like, I think he meant it as a compliment, but like, I think that the challenge is like all of us have to face this like internal thing that we literally feel in our body that's like, oh my God, I have to now like get over that and then start having a conversation with you. And that sucks. And it's not really fair. So it's kind of ridiculous that those are statements that are being made. But yeah, I'm curious what your experience has been in this industry as a woman yourself.
You know, I didn't really think anything of it when I first came through because I think that I'm really good at being naive and just, tackling whatever's in front of me, regardless of my gender.
Totally.
It's just the way I've always been. I was raised by a man my entire life. And so I think that probably changes my perception a little bit. There's definitely been moments where I have struggled just because dealing with only men sometimes they don't always understand the nuances of things, right? So it can be a challenge, but I think that once you find your groove and you just push through any uncertainty or strange moments, I think that it can be so rewarding. And something
Hmm.
that I always keep in the back of my mind is like, I have a daughter. And so I hope that one day she looks at me and she's so proud to see like her mom in this industry and it inspires her maybe to not be afraid to tackle something outside of her comfort zone.
Ah,
And I would say too, something that's been kind of a lifesaver for me is joining groups here in Houston.
yes.
I have Crew, which is women in real estate. And I've spoken to other women who, like some chick told me she was part of a group called Women in Parking. And so I think finding groups where you can find that support is so phenomenal and so crucial. It can feel a little strange sometimes, like you're outnumbered or you're like maybe not necessarily part of the pack, because
Yeah.
we love men. Men are great. But
Yeah. This isn't
sometimes,
time to hate men, but also,
but sometimes it can be, sometimes they can say things they don't even realize they're saying.
uh, yes. Yeah.
Like
I
to
think, yes, exactly what you're saying about groups. Yeah. Exclamation point, underline, bold. Absolutely. I also find like one of the advantages is that because we just have this kind of unspoken experience, it's not like I meet a woman in the industry and we're immediately talking about our experiences as women in the industry, but we get to celebrate, hey, here's two women in the industry. We already just like have this bond. We already have this like foundation for a deeper relationship, which I think is really good for business.
yes.
I love when I have calls with my customer and like we're all women on the call and we all just have to have this moment of like celebration and then we get down into it. And that's an advantage.
I fully agree. I think that, and to your point, you said it's getting better. You know, there are more women coming. I loved that you said recruit, recruit, recruit. I think that's a huge solution right now.
Recruit.
And I'm curious to see, we were talking about the next 10 years, how things might flesh out in that respect. We're here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to keep, finding our way, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. We're here to stay.
Yeah, I think that that is the most important thing is like, especially you 10 years in, man, bravo, you know.
Thank you. I don't even know where the time has gone. I'm like, yeah, they're like lost in the COVID years. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here still.
I'm just really proud of you and I think you're doing amazing work.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the horizon for ROCSYS? Are there any big things in the pipeline you want to share?
We've had a lot of announcements over the last few months. It's been like we've been loud. There's been a big cycle. You know, we're talking about the work that we're doing in robotaxi. We also launched our next generation system for ports and logistics markets. That is going to demand production in North America, sometimes because of, Build America, Buy America requirements, but sometimes just because the US is where a lot of the demand is, and it's just sometimes easier to be closer to your customer. I don't have any new announcements, but there's a lot of growth happening. I'm feeling really excited and optimistic. Harvest is coming, as they say. We've got a harvest coming up, which feels really good, especially when you've been around for a bit.
I'm so excited to see what more you guys do. And I think, like I said earlier, I think this is a really good time. You guys are in a really good space right now. So exciting.
Thank you.
Erin, I'm just so excited that we were able to sit down and talk today. Is there anything that you want to plug? Do you want to share the ROCSYS website or how to reach out to you at all? Now's the time.
Well, follow us on LinkedIn. That's where we're going to be our loudest, I think. ROCSYS, ROCSYS, which actually means robotic charging system. That's like at the foundation of our name. Yeah, ROCSYS website is our name.com, and you can find me also on LinkedIn. So
Perfect.
hopefully people can reach out and we can build these connections.
Yeah.
Oh, also we're hiring. That's the other thing. Actually, I
Okay.
would love to plug that.
All right. Yeah.
We
All,
have
all the ladies.
yes, I've hired two women in this role before. So in the US. So I'm like, let's get more. Field application engineer role in our Portland office.
Okay.
It's an amazing role. It's customer facing, it's technical, it's super important to our team. So that's the one in the US. We also have a couple roles at our headquarters in the Netherlands, but I'm less familiar with those, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, excited for your growth. That's always good to
Thank
hear.
you.
Well, Erin, thank you so much again for joining us. Folks, this is the end of our Charge Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you found value here today. And please join us for the next one. Thanks for listening and take care. Bye.
Well, we can do another one. I'm manifesting that.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I'm manifesting it in person and I'm manifesting it inside like a robo taxi. Like I think we're gonna be in Vegas, in a
Okay.
zoo. 'Cause this is like my
I will
future
love
that.
that. That will be a great episode. Yes, manifest that, the crap out of that. Yes, please do. Love these earrings. I was like, I can't believe she's wearing cones. This is so freaking perfect. Like, what?
Had to represent.
Oh my gosh. It's just like the chef's kiss, the cherry on top is perfect.
Oh, thank you. This was super fun. I was a little bit nervous, but like, yeah, immediately.
But I'm always nervous. So
Okay.
it never goes away for me. So I'm always like, okay, don't screw it up, Diana. So,
You did great. You did great.
I have been so giddy ever since I met you, and I was like, I cannot wait to speak to her. So, I mean, like, you're literally, I don't know if I told you this, but like, you're like a diamond in the rough. You're like the eureka moment of like a
Oh my
female in the
gosh.
charging space that's like engaging and doing something really cool. Like, you're everything, you know? So,
Sounds like we're two of the same in that.
I don't know. I think you definitely beat me. Like, from what I've seen and heard from what you're doing, I mean, autonomous charging just sounds so freaking cool. So, I'm
Yes, it's kind of fun.